What's going on, everybody? It's me, Shane, and I'm here to give you another Heels episode review. Today's episode is episode 4, Cutting a Promo. Before I go ahead and tell you what's going on in this episode, I'm going to have to cut a promo on you guys. I'm going to need you to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, brother. Because you don't understand how much I appreciate all of you for not only watching the videos, but doing your due diligence, giving me that like, giving me that comment, and giving me that oh so sweet subscription. And I definitely promise you, things are gonna get better and better from here on in. So, anyway, what is cutting a promo? Let's go ahead with our wrestling term of the week. Well, cutting a promo, it's several things, but the main thing is that you are going to send hype or hype up an upcoming event or an upcoming match, or just basically hype up the wrestler slash character and whatever they're going to do next. So normally cutting promos is when they got the microphone in their hand and they're talking to the people. Or back in the day when you had Mean Gene Okerlund, he'd come in and ask Ric Flair a question. Ric Flair's cutting a promo there. And some promos are things where there's like a cinematic to it, where the people are just talking, or a lot of times those promos are segments. And the promo that was actually cut here was very reminiscent of the Steve Austin and Booker T uh, grocery store brawl. And we call it a brawl, but Booker T was getting his butt whooped all up and down those aisles. Stone Cold drank milk, said got milk, smashed him in the head. It was hilarious. Actually, he had been chasing him for several promos slash segments. Chase him in the church. That was hilarious. Please look up Austin and Booker T segments, please, or look up or Austin and Booker T in the grocery store in the church. Really funny, but those can technically count as promos. Most of the time, promos, like I said, they're going to promote a match or they're going to promote a wrestler. Try to say why they're the toughest, why they're going to win the match. And the promo that they cut in here was Bobby, good boy Bobby Penn, was trying to get something at the convenience store. Crystal worked at the convenience store, which is actually true. And we have Ace coming in. Ace is kicking his butt all up and down the place. They fight through a car wash, and suddenly Jack shows up with the boys. He ends up clotheslining both of them, saying, "Hey, you two gonna fight in the cage, and whichever you wins, you're gonna battle me for the belt." And it was great because all of the normal guys around, the Cuban guy, Apocalypse, Rooster, all of them were there. So even Willie was there, and the I think a lot of it was Ace's ideas, which it looks like Jack is a little bit more receptive because they had a nice moment in the basement of their mother's house, or Ace lives with their mother, so of Ace and their mom's house, where they're going over old tape of Wild Bill with their dad. That looks like the looks like the promo, the cinematic promo they were cutting was called the Halloween Hurt, which reminds me of Halloween Havoc from WCW. And they got all the B roll, even the part where they say, "Did you get that? I don't want to do that again." Or when he's attacks him, Tom King Spade attacks him from behind with the mask on, and it's done so many times in wrestling. It's not even funny. It's you remember it's me, Austin. Vince McMahon has done that. It's been done and overdone many times. And yeah, that scene. We're gonna talk about that scene because that scene is more or less. I want to say it's almost a precipice, but it was a really good moment because Jack gave him the pad and the pen and told him go ahead and just write this thing down because he wanted to do a cinematic. Jack wanted to do a cinematic promo to prove Eddie, the preacher that we met last episode, the one who was one of his big time sponsors, prove him wrong because he says Duffy, there's no appeal outside of the town itself. The DWL only being focused on in Duffy won't drum up into business. And Willie had to convince Jack to not go. Jack is a powder keg and he goes off. Actually, things I was going to talk about. That seems like the theme of this episode is family ties or the ties that bind. And Willie had to calm him down because while he didn't curse out the guy to his face, he did say he wanted to throw him to a wall. He said it's sad that a man of faith like yourself, who's known his family for so long, has such little faith in them. That's, man, he's really good with the words. And, harkening back to the basement conversation, Ace was asking, how does a person be a heel? What makes a good heel? And, do you have to be an asshole to be a heel? And Jack was saying, are you calling me an asshole, or are you genuinely asking? And when he just shrugs, Jack says, look, at first it's going to be very hard to differentiate between the wrestler and the person, but that's what it is. You got to leave all that stuff out there. You cannot bring it home with you because you're not that person. You're not an actually evil person. You're just playing one on small television or in front of people. Excuse me. And that's basically where the cinematic promo came from. Jack wants to do streaming, which for a small place like Duffy would probably be great because he wants to digitize the catalog, show all the old wrestlers, even people like Bill who made it big. And this is something that WWE's done it. I'm waiting on AEW to do it. I'm pretty sure they've done it in some capacity. Um, I know Impact has their own free app with tons and tons of old matches. The DWO kind of reminds me of a rundown Impact Wrestling, or as most people probably knew it as TNA. And yeah, he needs a social media manager. They get their presence on places like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I love the fact that this is modern day and it doesn't take place in like early 2000s or the 80s. So happy about that. And that's a good plan to drum. He needs more money because beginning of this episode, we just the woes keep on coming. There was a fire inside the little Tom's room. He used his favorite blanket to put it out. He being Jack, and Jack wanted to say, "Well, why don't we go to a nice hotel with a pool?" And Stacy's like, "We don't have the money for that. Our insurance isn't going to cover all of this." So, and she wants to get a job. And since we want to run down it, I'll start with Stacy first. Stacy wants to be happy. She doesn't want to end up like Carol. And I'm definitely going to get to Carol after this. And actually, one of the coolest things is Stacy calls Jack when he's on his way to talk to Wild Bill, trying to tell him stay away from Ace. And she just says, "Hey, how was your day?" And it leads up to, "Hey, I got a job at a grocery store part time. You know, I know it's just a grocery store and it's not glamorous, but eventually I want to go back to school and I want to do things. I want to be, she wants to be happy. She doesn't want to be known only for being the best one, being the wife that sews up DWL people's outfits or knowing the best flour to make fried chicken, which is something that Carol said to her earlier. Stacy asked, "Did you ever want to do more?" And in the grocery store, Carol said no. But the wonderful thing about Jack is a great. I have a lot more faith that these two can make it because he says, "You know what? If you want to work, I want you to work. I just want you to be happy." And she says she wants that too. They both said that I love you. She was in tears telling him because I guess she was expecting him to blow up. Because remember, episode 2, he didn't want her to work because his mom didn't have to work. And when we're getting down to the nitty gritty about Carol, Ace had a nice line towards the end of this where she was sad before their father killed himself. And he was telling her, once you sort that out, you might start leaning towards happiness. Because Carol's running from sadness and leaning towards anger. She is just angry. She told her grandson that his grandfather went to hell, ruining the dinner. Because Jack and Ace don't want to hear that shit. And she's like, Judas went to hell, your grandpa went to hell. And they had to tell her, Dad wasn't a great guy. He had a lot of issues, and he checked out. He checked out of life, but he wasn't a Judas. I don't think he's not here, but he didn't go to hell. And this shows a level of maturity from Ace, especially when he was in a dark place. But we'll get to that in 1 second. I need to make sure underline Ace is next. And Carol's just we understand her anger more, especially with the conversation she had with Stacy. This is a complex character who, whether she wants to admit it or not, she loves her sons. But just being a stay-at-home wife only, she never even got a chance to drive because Tom did all the driving, and she's resentful, and she leans into the anger and doesn't want to talk about the past. She is a person who was definitely chained down by the past, and while she leaned into her faith, she's using that as a heavy, heavy crutch. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not really a good thing. It's not, especially not in this situation. They all have issues, and they all need to just air them out. Especially Ace. Ace cannot go to sleep without hearing music. He whenever it's quiet, he hears the gunshot. He was home for it, and by the time he finally realizes he doesn't actually have to be a bad guy in real life, he's pretty much lost Crystal. He ends up having revenge sex, more or less, with this young lady that works at the bar where he had ended up having a conversation with Wild Bill. And I'm very surprised that he even opened up to his brother about meeting Wild Bill, saying he don't know if he should tell him, or he's so controlling, and Jack is very much prone to anger, just like I mentioned earlier with Eddie. He has so much writing. He wants wrestling to be his full time thing. He wants to keep the thing that his father cared about. His father basically, pretty sure Tom is very reflectant of what happened with Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit was one of my favorite wrestlers. But you can tell there was something going on with Tom that just made that switch flip. Which thankfully he didn't hurt anybody else physically in his family. Emotionally and spiritually, he broke these people down. But even Ace says his spirit was broken when talking to Little Tom. Little Tom over and over was like, is his grandfather in hell? No, Ace says you don't always have to listen to what adults tell you. Just if you don't want to, don't talk back. Is basically basically said, don't talk back, but just nod your head. Nodding is not just yes; it's getting you out of a situation, and which is cute because Tom nodded to his uncle, and they even share "I love yous." Well, Tom said "I love you." Ace is still immature, says right back at you, but that's just how some people share their love, right? And that's another. When it comes to that boy, when it comes to Tom, Tom is a really good. Looks like he's a really good little kid. When it comes to him, everyone can come together, and I appreciate that he is one of two beacons of light in this show. But yeah, Ace got to see Wild Bill act. Wild Bill's just a dick. That's putting it lightly. He goes, yeah, he's able to see how he takes anger, resentment, and everything, and the stuff when people laugh at him, especially the two guys at the pool hall. He tries to punk a guy, calls him a cuck, and all this other stuff. Calls him white fat, and that guy backs down because Bill is a good, good foot taller than him almost. But Ace is able to see what kind of person he is. Ace has a chance to not be that guy. And we're going to talk about Bill, even though I don't think I got fully into Jack, but I'll get to Jack in a second. Bill is a POS. He is that bitter guy from, if you ever watch A Dark Side of the Ring on Vice, that's what Wild Bill is. He is literally that guy who, even his manager, she said it best. You think you're the only person winning. Instead of driving the Corolla, you upgrade to the Escalade. You spend too much money because you think you're hot shit, but you're not. The big league wrestling company wanted him to be behind this bright belt that was just a toy, and he wanted to wrestle. They didn't want him to wrestle. That was the prelude to him showing his penis all over the internet, which did not need to see a fake prosthetic penis, but it's on Starz. What can you do? Anyway, apparently him and Willie had a past, which is very much obvious. But apparently Willie was cheating on the husband she has now with this guy. Apparently Willie had an abortion that he paid for. When the tipping point starts with him saying that Jack is the reason why Tom killed himself. Then he goes into her family saying, "You hate your daughter. Too bad I couldn't pay for this abortion." And she is beating his butt. I thought he was going to hit her back. He didn't, but she lays into him. And good on her husband, because I'm pretty sure Willie told him told him about Bill acting an asshole by the creek. And he was staying at their home. He throws all his stuff outside by the car and says, "You can go to the hotel down the road. You can have all the syrup you want." Slam dunk. Best funny, good burn. Loved all of that. Because Bill is literally a dark. I thought he was gonna kill himself at the end of this episode because he's standing on top of the hotel, and Jack does eventually get there, but he sees this broke down old man. He's wearing glasses. He's all kicking the ice machine because he can't get the ice. Very small town, by the way, because Jack knows the guy who works the front desk. Guy's gonna tell him where Bill is, completely against the law. But Jack doesn't even bother. Jack is a good man. He's a good man at heart, but he's under a lot of pressure. I fully understand this character. I just hope he is able to maintain his marriage, keep a good relationship with his brother, and just not lose any wrestlers or any talent along the way because Crystal seems like she's on the way out. And she wants, Bobby is trying to, pardon me, Bobby is trying to give her tons of credit for coming up with his Bobby 85 gimmick. He was like an homage to Bret Hart. And she's saying, the rap music with your trailer, your rap music intro doesn't suit you. You want to do the whole 80, Bobby 85 thing, but just be yourself. You tell them don't worry about what Willie and Jack think because waiting on their approval isn't it doesn't matter. You're just a really good guy, and he is the second beacon of light in this show. He talks to his parents. His parents, are very encouraging. He wants to maintain a friendship with Crystal, which it looks like that's going to butt into a relationship. And he's a really great guy. And even Jack says, you know what, you're a down to earth guy. People will connect with it. Good job. And I can't wait to see that cage match between him and Ace. Drama's going to ensue with that. And speaking of Ace with Bobby, Ace tries to apologize. He doesn't really fully apologize about what happened the night before. He kind of does, kind of doesn't. He wanted to spend some time with Crystal, but she has to work. They shut down the gas station where she works to cut the promo, and they paid for all that. But at the same time, he's like, let's go eat, celebrate. She has to work a shift. He goes to her house probably the next day and sees her jumping on a trampoline with Bobby. He's this guy's Bronco, by the way. That's where the revenge sex comes after that part. He's still immature, but I'm pretty sure that ship has sailed with him and Crystal. Um, no word on the daughter. Like Bill was insinuating that she doesn't get along or doesn't like her daughter. She just seems like a regular teenager to me. Probably 16, 17. Seemed like a normal teenager to me. Um, Her husband's kind of stout. Kind of surprised me, but you know. And I guess we can talk about Jack a little bit more. I'm sincerely hoping that with this maturity of letting it's not even maturity letting your wife work. It's realizing you can't control everything. And I like that he is letting go of control. It's gonna be an all hands on deck team effort to make sure the thing your father built does not go away. And that's just all it is. The thing I like about this show is how they do a great job of going between show day episodes or show weekend show day episodes and things that lead up into it. Someone who doesn't even watch wrestling told me I can watch this show because the characters are interesting. It's way better than I thought it was, and it gives you a good look into the background of what goes on with these people. And it's telling a really good story, especially when we found out Stacy and Jack have been married 9 years, probably going on 10, and that's the first conversation she ever had with her mother-in-law about how is she feeling, how is she dealing with, you know, her husband's death, more or less. I'm I'm enjoying the show. every step of the way. I would definitely give this episode, if I'm ranking it, 4 out of 5. Pretty decent. Not as amazing as episodes 2 and 3, but it's pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. I'm it's really hard to talk about this show because I don't want to go play by play, but the actions that these characters take is very interesting. I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping Rooster doesn't leave, but I'm pretty sure Crystal's out 1 foot out of the door. She can't just be a valet forever. She even took time to draw her own outfit. She's pretty decent with colored pencil. She even drew Bobby 85. Really, really good with her art. And I think with the way Jack is on the up and up, she'll probably get her chance in the ring to actually wrestle. But does a small town like Duffy want to see women wrestle? And will their sponsor, the Mr. Holier Than Thou guy, even keep his sponsorship if that happens? Only time can tell. Only time can definitely tell. So I'm hoping for Ace to be better. I'm hoping for Stacy to be better. I'm really hoping for Crystal to be better. But please let me know what you thought of the episode down in the comment section down below. I'm genuinely would like to know what people think of this episode and who's your favorite character so far. I'm gonna be honest. So far, I'm liking Stacy. I'm liking Apocalypse. Black ball guy. I like him. And Crystal. I like how intelligent she is. She is a definite stark contrast to that revenge sex girl that Ace had because he wanted to talk about his feelings and get everything out, and all she was focused on was having more sex with him. You missed out. You really missed your opportunity by treating Crystal like crap, guy. So please give me a like. When you hit that subscribe button, remember to hit the notification bell. Get me notified more videos like this. As always, share the video so others can enjoy the conversation that we're having. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate every last one of you. As always, be good, be blessed. Wash your hands, wear your mask. Be good to yourself, be good to others. Please do not be a jerk. One thing I do want to mention, and it's kind of a somber note to leave off on, but